This is Mile High.
Do I want to tell the story or do I want to show the message?
You've got a lot of work to do between Mile High.
The time has come where we can know
we have a responsibility, an ethical and moral responsibility.
We have to do it better in order to move people along.
Up, down, inside out.
If you get your mind right,
it is not. It is a receiver of thought. Because love is my first technique.
it's now time for the show.
Welcome to the Mile High Podcast. This is your host, Dr. Daniel Knowles. And wherever you are listening to, if you're at sea level, make sure you hit subscribe. And also, if you're on Mile High territory, make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss any Mile High tick. And of course, you want to make sure hit register so you don't miss Mile High Live. I can't believe it's Mile High 12. We're calling it High Noon, September 26th, 29th. RiseUpToMileHigh.com is where you're going to get all the details. And so super stoked to be here at Dr. Brent Jenogan with Architect Chiropractic. He's a local Mile High doc, and he is going to be sharing with you at Mile High specializes in brain health, organ systems, AK. He's a founder of Architect Chiropractic, celebrated for his holistic approach. And you're going to be really enjoy this episode and enjoy getting to know him at Mile High. So make sure you visit Architect Chiropractic when we have the vendor breakout sessions. Okay. And thank you for joining us today, Dr. Brent.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Well, the honor is ours to see you here. Now, first of all, let's get started with letting people get to know you personally a little bit. So how did you find your way into the chiropractic world?
Yeah, so I was an aviation mechanic before I became a chiropractor. So I'm a world-class aviation mechanic. I am an electrician as well as a mechanic. I have my federal license. I've worked on some of the world's greatest technology, some of the most recent up-to-date R&D on aviation and the developments of that. So I got bored in aviation and then got into school, started going to school, and then fell in love with the nervous system, quite honestly. And that led me to chiropractic.
Awesome. And you went to school where? When did you graduate?
I was at Life University. September 22 is when I graduated.
Awesome. And what brought you to higher ground?
You know, it's really interesting. As a student, I was trying to figure out where I wanted to be. And I had a meditative drop-in that just was like, Colorado is where you need to be. So I didn't really question it. That dropped in second quarter. And by the end of my time at Life University, I just knew I needed to be in Colorado, and it dropped in and put me out here. So I've been here ever since. Awesome.
Well, it's very interesting that Colorado is now a hub for chiropractic. That's a really great shift, and that people are getting drawn to it. So then along that way, why do you think chiropractic is vital to humanity?
That's such a great question. Because I think you said the word vitality, because without chiropractic, you don't have vitality.
Right.
It is that thing, that very singular thing in the world that allows us to reattune ourselves, get realigned, allow material and immaterial to flow perfectly in that triune. So I feel that chiropractic is the singular profession in the world that can really impact people's health and bring them out of whatever they're going through back to alignment.
Very well said. So then with that, talk about the importance of chiropractic, including the immaterial.
I mean, without the immaterial, you can't have the material, energy that drives the matter. We can get really heady, or we can keep it pretty ground level. But without a belief of something greater than yourself, the purpose is so heavy and it's so burdensome that the physical body cannot maintain the structural weight of the immaterial, because we're trying to take something that's outside of us and trying to bring it into us and make it and control it. And we get so depressed and anxious, and we get responsive, and we get stuck in threat in our emotions and our neurochemistry and biochemistry and our physiology actually respond to us trying to manipulate and control the world versus trust and have faith that things are working for you.
Vital, vital. So now with that, why do you think the brain's important relative to chiropractic?
Ah, man, it's a great question. Without it, the body doesn't run. You know, it's the processing unit of the body. So the motherboard is the body, and then the processor is going to be the brain. If you don't have that properly communicating, the electricity, the communication, everything's thrown off. So there's interference. As an electrician, you call that impedance. You can have resistance. You can have a short in the system, but ideally the electrical system is not communicating appropriately. Therefore, the communication is improper, and function can never be 100% if there is improper communication. Very well said.
Very well said. And then, we talk about electrical, and I don't know much. I'm not an electrician. Okay. I'm a chiropractor. I don't have a background in it. With that, what importance does coherence play in electric world?
Coherence is a really interesting word. I like to consider that like a totality. So it's more of the coherent expression in the totality of the system. How well integrated is the system to create coherence and communication? If there is not coherence, there is not high levels of communication. There would be more of an impedance or more of a static or a, you've ever, back in the day, back when people used the seek on the radio and they try to find the channel, right. I kind of think of it like that, because we're dialing into the frequency of the person, and then the seek is kind of the distraction, the noise that's around it. So we're trying to dial into that one specific frequency and get it really dialed in, and everything else is just the noise around it trying to get you to that channel.
Right. Now, with that, if we think coherence is an outcome we're moving towards in taking care of the nerve system, how would coherence be connected to authenticity?
Authenticity. That would be more of the expression of the individual, because that would be individually authentic to the person, and then the coherence of their system is independent to them. Then collectively, you can impact people through like field change, but I think that my answer to that would be more of the individual, the coherence of their system is how well integrated that system is and aligned it is.
Would it be hard to be authentic without coherence?
Oh, I would believe so, because then you'd just be responsive.
Right. Very, very well said. Now, tell me, what is Architect Chiropractic? We're telling me, but our listeners.
So Architect Chiropractic is my brainchild. As I moved into the chiropractic,
brainchilds are awesome, aren't they?
They really are. It was a combination of like in my own journey, being a combat veteran and being in a state of stress and distress and dis-ease. I saw an opportunity that I wanted to bring something different to the chiropractic profession. And a lot of that was diving into how the person shows up, but more so a deep dive into the neurochemistry, the neurological programming. I want to make sure that the mechanical programming for the movement patterns, the motor patterns are functioning as they're supposed to, so the body performs appropriately. But sensory information coming into the system is really important. We're a giant sponge. So the birth of Architect Chiropractic was this combination of this understanding that this sensory machine is constantly perceiving information, taking it in, and it's not always integrating that. Sometimes it just takes it in, and we get stored information that overrides, and we can't contextualize, or we can't tell a story. And so the brain takes over. Amygdala, if you've heard of an amygdala hijack, it's where your amygdala basically overrides your prefrontal cortex. You're no longer able to understand what's going on around you. So you're only in threat. So you're in survival. You're stuck in sympathetic dominance, and your brain just can't undo what it's doing. And so you're stuck there. And a big part of my life was being in that spot, being in that place. And coming into chiropractic school, I found that I could unlock that part of myself and come out of survival and go into a state of rest, a state of being able to recover and not just be burned out all the time. And so my brainchild with Architect Chiropractic was creating a place that people could come to and do exactly that, is unwind and reattune themselves and refine themselves. And ultimately, like my vision for Architect Chiropractic is I want to lead a global movement that optimizes health and well-being. It's really just taking chiropractic and what we've done, not creating a new will, but redefining or just redesigning the will to be able to roll better, and then innovating it and bringing it with cultural understanding and empowering people to really surpass what their current limits are. That really just sets a new standard for healthcare. Like my goal is to set a new standard for healthcare, patient management, and then innovating chiropractic so that everybody knows about it.
Right.
Everybody wants it.
Great. And to further build on that, what's something you'd like to see people gain from that?
There's a lot to gain. I would love for people to believe that they have an opportunity to heal.
Ah. Yeah, isn't that distressing when you see people just don't think they can heal?
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
Right. Like that, they just don't see that there's possibility. Where they are is what they're going to be, and their only solution is something outside themselves, something outside in.
Absolutely. That's one of my number one things when people come in. I'm like, you're the hero of the story.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And that's vital. That's vital to remember. So, to put in the forefront of humanity. So now, where did so you go to chiropractic school, and for some reason, you have a spark that this is the path for me to go on. Where along the way did you get enthused, or who sparked an interest in chiropractic philosophy?
Well, I'm actually a brother of Delta Sigma Chi, so I'm a defender of the philosophy of chiropractic, straight chiropractor, and that really that ironed it in for me. It's like I don't think I would be the chiropractor that I am today if it wasn't for the delts.
Awesome. So it sounds like that's something you'd recommend people to dive into.
Absolutely. Now more than ever.
Okay. Awesome. So now you're going to be at Mile High, and I want to encourage people to go visit you at Mile High, because you're in the vendor. Thank you so much being a supporter of Mile High, and being one of our top level sponsors. Why should people go and visit you and you when you're there?
Well, I'm gonna have some amazing swag. We got some really great chiropractic gear coming in. It's gonna be kind of one-off stuff that you're just not gonna see anywhere else, that I'm producing just for the profession, for Mile High. So you're definitely want to come by, grab some stuff off the table, have a conversation, maybe take a picture, and let me know what you think about the wares.
Awesome. Now, why is authentic, autonomous version of yourself and having conviction and confidence, why are those things important when you're practicing, when you're a chiropractor?
I love that question. I really can't tell you how much I love that question. In my experience, coming out of school as a student, you're charged, you're supercharged, and you're big on philosophy, big on technique, big on getting adjustments and doing everything. In my expression, I want to take chiropractic to the next level. I want us to be the leaders in healthcare. I truly do, because I feel that that's necessary. In my authentic expression, for me, it's to become the best clinical doctor I possibly can, but also the best chiropractor I can. I feel that those two things are very synonymous. They're synergistic. You have chiropractors that adjust philosophically only for subluxation, and you have clinical doctors that go deep into the weeds with blood work, organic acid testing, hormone testing, and such. Two very different sides of the table, but same table. And I like to combine all of that and just meet everyone in the middle and add the absolute most specificities I possibly can, and then get down to the root causation of no matter what's happening, we're going to find it. We're going to fix it. If you believe it's possible, because part of the conversation is the belief within the person.
Outstanding. Now, when you think chiropractic, and when you think this person on the table that's there in front of you, that they traded their time, their energy, money that they work for, and they decide, hey, I could do anything with this hour, and they got to drive to where you are and then get on a table. I mean, it's probably 30 to 60 minutes of the day to just decide that they're going to, sideline, make a turn in their life to go to see you, right? It's got to be at least 20 to 30 minutes. Like, I'm going to drive there, park, get on a table, decide to go, out of that, they're not going to get back. What do you think about being the best you for them when you're there, when you're table side?
Oh, absolutely. You show up as your best version every single day.
Now, how do you do that? What are ways to say, I'm going to be there for them?
Well, a big part is charging myself, filling my cup first before I start filling other people's cup. I am a king of burnout. So I love overfilling my cup, putting way too much on my plate, and then thinking that I'm going to have A+ success in everything that I do. So for me, spending time meditating, spending time in my heart space, spending time in my breath, spending time in my body, getting outside in nature, reattuning myself to nature, cardio is absolutely it's I can't even begin to explain. We are hunters and gatherers that have evolved to a sitting culture. So we have to move. We have to move our body. We have to move our physiology. It activates so many different things. So for me, getting outside, being in the sun, being in nature, moving my body, challenging myself through different elemental changes. So like jumping into the river, going outside when it's like 100 degrees and going for a run, doing things that are going to challenge me, doing breath work in a steam room versus a sauna, putting yourself in environments that are going to cause you to evolve. It's going to catalytically enhance you or put you in a state that you have to become more aware of yourself and how you're responding to your environment. That's big for me.
So with that, to kind of build on that a little bit, what are do you have rituals around that, that you do each day or each week?
Absolutely. Morning and afternoon. So before I go to bed at night, it's like dump the day, get ready for the next day. That way the anxiety isn't there. So I'll prepare myself for the week ahead, the day ahead, the next day. And then in the morning, it's all about me. So before I ever touch my phone, start checking emails, messages, or anything like that, I have to do everything I can for myself. So that's get up in the morning, drink water with salt in it, take the dogs out, feed them, get some sun on my body, get some sun in my eyes, raise my cortisol levels. It's my supplementation, my exercise, like those things are essential to me every single day so that I'm charged. And if I miss a day, I have to give myself grace, not beat myself up and punish myself or neglect myself, which is a part of conditional loving, unconditional loving. You got to unconditionally love yourself. It's so important.
Right. And you notice a difference of who you are in the office when you don't do those things.
Absolutely. It's profound. There's days I come in, if I don't do the things that I'm supposed to take care of myself, I just feel icky. I feel kind of, and then I start adjusting people. And then by the end of the day, I'm happy.
Right.
But it's like, if I don't show up appropriately, which you can't be 100% all the time, but there's days that you're going to be a little off, but those days that you're off, all you really need to do is take account of it and just love yourself for just having an off day.
Right. So true. So true. So then, and having the grace around it, I love that you said that, because no one is perfect, right? You've got to bring your best. And at times, things are going to sideline your life, or make a change, or you wake up a little bit later, or whatever it might be. That's just called being human, right? So now, you tell me about the Architect podcast, becoming the
Architect. So I started that last year. It was just a fun little side thing that I kicked off that gives me an opportunity to interview, just like this, get to interview people like yourself that are amazing human beings that are changing the world, that have built an archetype or a blueprint for themselves. Ideally, it's just empowering people and allowing them to tell their story and to share that story. If you are at any way moving through life and you find that you're onto something, you found success, you found some type of treasure trove, like, it's just an opportunity to share that and to hear other people that are going through it and struggling. That's a part of it. The hero's journey is the struggle and the enjoyment in the struggle. And so many people are afraid to struggle these days. It's like, I look forward to challenge, adversity, and opportunity because it makes me grow. If I'm not growing, I'm fixed. At least that's how I think of it.
Right. So now, if you were to give advice, or what piece of advice would you give to other chiropractors today?
Get out of your own way. Stop making it about you. Change the narrative. Make it about the patient. Make it about the people. If you're going out screening events, don't make it about how you feel. Don't make it about the rejection. Make it about the people's lives you're going to change that day, and you're going to get them on the table, and you're going to impact their lives ultimately forever. I feel that too many people in the profession, this is just my experience, what I've seen so far in 2 years, a lot of people get trapped in their own thoughts and their own processes. It's great to break those processes and find somebody that can break them for you.
Yeah. Now let's bring that back a little bit. Okay. What if you get talking to someone, they're in their first year of school, first, second, third, fourth quarter, somewhere along that route. What would you advise them?
Get as much exposure as possible.
Which means?
That means that try to accumulate as much experience and knowledge as you can. So exposure. I went to 67 different seminars as a student. I came out of school with 10,000 plus adjustments. So my experience was that I wanted to be a great chiropractor coming out of school, and I would be willing to do anything to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that drive, that tenacity, that desire for greatness and excellence is something that intrinsically you have to have, and you have to hold on to it for yourself. And then as a student, just cut the distractions. Cut the distractions. Don't get distracted. Don't get caught in the noise. Don't be a technique. What's it called? A person that hyper fixates on one technique. Like it's great to fixate on one technique, but it's also great to understand the analysis of other people and how they got there.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's just the expansion of exposure to create as much experience as you possibly can in those short 4 years that you have, because once you're out here in the real world, you don't have the time to sit down and just study and do all the things that you used to do.
Excellent. So now let's cycle that to a whole nother area. What are things that either in that student mode or after you graduated, either way, there were chiropractic reads that this is what you need to make sure you look at or read?
Chiropractic textbook, baby.
There you go.
That I think it depends on the person. The green books are absolutely amazing. I read the green books all the time. Bigness of the Fellow Within. It's like hygiene, chiropractic, clinical research, The Known Man, Our Masterpiece, The Glory of Going On. All of those are absolutely exceptional books. If you're more philosophical, I always recommend a little Eckhart Tolle, some Ram Dass, maybe depending on where the person is. It could be a little more spiritual alignment, a little more emotional alignment, a little more driven. But the green books are, as a chiropractor, I feel that BJ, after having been to BJ's house in Davenport, he used to play chess with the Tsar of Russia.
Really?
He has a custom chess set made out of ivory that he played chess with, the Tsar of Russia. And so when you walk through BJ's house, there's all these fun little gadgets and gizmos and all these little trinkets and things everywhere. Well, BJ very interestingly was able to accumulate all of the Western and Eastern knowledge in the Orient and combine it. And I feel like chiropractic philosophy is this wonderful accumulation of theology and philosophy and history and quantum mechanics and Mendelian genetics and everything kind of combined for us to understand the way it works. I have not found another philosophical script that has as much depth and polarity than what BJ and the rest of the chiropractic profession has written.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's awesome. So if there's, you're talking to chiropractors from around the world here, what's one thing chiropractors students that you would recommend?
Chiropractic student, what?
If you're talking right now to chiropractors and students around the world, what's one last thing you'd like to share with them, or a gem or a tip that hey, this is my message to you?
Be willing to be different. Be willing to stand out. Know what you know what you don't know. Speak from a place of authenticity and truth. Don't seek self-validation. Don't seek greed. Do it for the profession. If it's like, I just think back to Reggie. It's like, it's not what chiropractic can do for you, it's what you can do for chiropractic.
Outstanding, outstanding. You know, I highly recommend that when you're at Mile High, okay, you go visit Dr. Brent, say hello to him, okay, shake his hand, say hi. And Dr. Brent, I really appreciate, you know, who you are being in chiropractic, being someone who's hungry, being someone who is ready to learn, someone who's growth, and someone who's already contributing, you know, in these early stages of being out of school. So, you know, thank you so much for being that person. So again, we look forward to seeing you on Higher Ground, September. Man, it's coming up real close. I better get ready. September 26th to 29th. And I'm telling people, make sure you get ready by making sure you're a cowboy hat and your boots, because we're doing a Western theme. So it's going to be fun all the way through. It's going to be quite interesting. So keep changing spines, lives, and minds with chiropractic. Make sure you hit subscribe if you have not, and make sure you hit register if you have not at riseuptomilehigh.com.